Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 5. So unfortunately, The Flash was not on this week due to the election held in America, but that is okay, I guess, as we can pick up next week with it. And when we pick up with it next week, all three shows involved with the Elseworlds crossover for this season will all be on episode 5, so that just makes it a bit of a smoother ride to the crossover in early December on episode 9 of all three of those shows. But in this video, we'll be going over some stuff for episode 5 of this season of The Flash, as there are some interesting and I guess exciting things if you have been looking forward to certain things returning this season that were introduced last season. And these are all contained in the promo images for episode 5. But before we go over all of them, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below throughout this video what you think of the various stuff we go over, because I'm sure you guys are going to have differing opinions, which is always good. I know sometimes we have different debates and disagreements in the comments on my opinions and your guys' opinions, but you know, debate is healthy. You know, everyone can't agree with each other because that would just be boring. You know, debate is good. But yeah, just leave all your opinions in the comment section down below. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, be sure to drop a like on the video as well to show your support. So we start off these promo images with Barry and Iris having a talk to Nora in like the Cortex. I keep forgetting the name of these rooms in Star Labs, but the main room in Star Labs, and they're sitting, you know, Nora's sitting down, and it seems like Barry and Iris are just giving her the classic parent talk, like Barry and Iris getting the height advantage, the looking down upon Nora. But you'd have to think this is early on into this episode, because at the end of last episode, Nora just, you know, left Star Labs, left where she was living there, and no, actually she was staying with, you know, Barry and Iris, so has left their house and has gone to stay with Joe and Cecile. So I'm guessing, you know, Nora wouldn't just completely segregate herself from her parents and separate herself. She would still, you know, most likely go to Star Labs to quote-unquote work as excess with the Flash. But I'm guessing there's just going to be tension and little like snarky comments, which a lot of people have been pointing out about Nora and saying she's a bit of a brat, which I can agree with those like snarky comments with being a bit bratty. But I think with the rest of the stuff she was doing, I think it was warranted. But essentially, I think Barry and Iris are just going to talk to each other and just be like, you know what? Let's just have a talk to her, because you can't just treat people like this. And it's going to be your classic parent talk. So, yeah, but I'm okay with this, because I think something else later in the episode is going to sort of like negate this and make people not to be, you know, make people not be too annoyed at it. Because I think people are sort of over this drama between the West Allen family, or at least Nora and Iris. And something at the end of this these promo images and what we'll go over later in this video does sort of suggest that they will be moving on from this later on. But another thing that could be going on here is maybe Nora threatens to leave, like, I'm gonna leave, I'm gonna go back to the future, man. Or she could say that, and then maybe Barry and Iris, while having a go at her and telling her to calm down, just be more adult, they might try and convince her to stay if she's threatening to leave. An important thing to point out, people keep forgetting that Nora is in her mid-20s. A lot of people must think she's like 18 or 19, so her behavior seems more, I guess, normal, even though it's not normal. She's in like her mid-20s. She's an adult, not like a young adult, like a, not middle-aged yet, but she's getting to there. So she should be acting a bit more mature, I guess. So maybe Barry and Iris might tell her that. I don't know. That'd be pretty hard to hear, but maybe she has to be told that. But we do see Barry and Cecile having a chat, so maybe Nora told Cecile some stuff. That'd be interesting if, you know, Nora just sort of, not let loose, but just opened up to Joe and Cecile. Because sometimes it is, well, actually, a lot of the time it is much easier to open up to another family member than maybe your parents or siblings and stuff like that. So it would not be surprising at all if Nora maybe opened up to Joe and Cecile a bit and revealed some information that she was a bit scared to tell Barry and Iris, or just didn't want to tell them. But also, Barry could be getting some parenting advice and just how to deal with children. Obviously, Cecile has an older child, so she would be a perfect person to go to. So that could be what's happening here. We then move on to some promo images where we have Barry, Nora, and Iris looking shocked and like confused at something, followed with another photo of Nora with sort of like a similar face, like shocked, confused, and all of that. Now, it does seem that this will be our first encounter with Ragdoll. It wouldn't surprise me that these like shocked and looked faces are because they're looking at Ragdoll and all the creepy stuff he does. And one thing to point out is that Barry's actually wearing, I'm pretty sure, the same shirt that he is knocked out in the trailer, and then later, like in the trailer, wrapped up in like duct tape with. So he's not going to get hit, like kidnapped here or, you know, abducted here, because obviously that happens in his home. So I'm guessing Ragdoll follows them, or some sort of tracker, or just recognizes Barry Allen or something and knows where he lives, something along those lines. But obviously in those photos, Nora is there as XS, but Barry's not there as the Flash. So I wonder if like Barry and Iris were just out on like a date or something, or out at dinner, or just out, and Nora's just shown up at XS doing her own thing, or maybe they're undercover. I don't know, I have to wait and see. But speaking of Ragdoll, here are some extremely creepy images of him. Now, yeah, sorry for those that are at night and maybe, might be watching these, sorry, but try getting to sleep after seeing that. Now, I did see some people try to say that, Ragdoll didn't look comic accurate, which I have to disagree with. I think he does look fairly comic accurate. Sure, he isn't wearing like the jester suit of sorts or whatever he is that he wears in the comics, but I'm sure there is a reason that he wears a tuxedo. I think I remember when they were filming this episode that there was something where there was like a ball or something where they were dressed up in tuxedos or something, so that might be the reason he's there. So he he masquerades as like a butler or just a waiter or something, and then he hides away and then appears as Ragdoll. That could be what his little thing is. That's how he gets into like expensive places to rob them. He actually just like goes in there, pretends he's like a waiter, a butler, or whatever he needs to be, and then contorts himself because he's a contortionist, and then pops out as Ragdoll and does all these criminal activities. And we do get a suggestion of that in the trailer when he pops out of like a gift box. So I'm guessing that's much like what he was doing maybe here and in like the various different crimes he's done. Now we do see Barry and Iris having a chat, which is, I guess, cool, but probably it's once again about Nora, like it most likely is. I can't see why I wouldn't. But forget about them having a chat. The main thing to look at here is Iris, and she seems to be looking at like newspaper clippings. So maybe she's looking for like more connections to the satellite incident, maybe like weird reports of maybe more meta tech or people displaying weird abilities or just being weird and stuff like that. Or maybe it could be stuff connected to Cicada. Maybe they're trying to piece together stuff from the satellite incident and maybe like families that are affected as they've like revealed in episodes that he's a father. I think last episode they revealed that he was a father and stuff like that. So they're probably just going to piece together like pieces of puzzles where like there's children in hospital maybe affected by dark matter or affected by the satellite incident, and that's how they're going to piece together their track to try and find Cicada. So I think this episode might not be a massive focus on it, but it definitely will be like just setting everything up. But here is like the big wow part of the promo images, and this is when we see Nora with the notebook that she was writing the Speed Force symbols in last season. Now, we have only seen this notebook on 3 different occasions. So the first time, as we should all remember, was in Jitters last season when she talked to both Ralph and Cisco and I think paid for their coffee. Then she sat down and as they were walking off, she smiled at them and then wrote these these symbols, or as everyone's been calling them, Speed Force symbols in this notebook. And obviously this was the first time we were seeing her write them after we'd seen Barry write them. I think we also saw DeVoe write them on a chalkboard in an episode as well. Then the second time we saw them was in the season 4 finale. Now a lot of people might not have noticed this. I have brought this up. I think I was the first one to point it out because I don't think anyone else pointed it out before me. But she walks into the Joe West house, or the West household, in the season 4 finale, and she is holding the notebook in, I think, her left hand or right hand. It's a 50-50 choice, I guess, which hand she was holding it in. But at that point, she didn't open it up and start writing in it. She was just holding it. But it's interesting that she had it at that point. They obviously gave it to her to hold at that point, for reference. And then this is the third time right now where she's writing it in the speed lab, I think it's called. Now, this is only the second time she is writing in it. So obviously that first time was in Jitters when she was after talking to Ralph and Cisco. But I guess the big question is, why is she writing in it now? Like in that first time with Jitters, you'd have to think she was recording her interactions with Ralph and Cisco, maybe what was said there, maybe how she might have changed the timeline or something like that. But in regards to what she could be writing here, the thing that she has next to her, and I think on her lap at one point as well, is a photo album, I'm pretty sure, like an old one, almost like it could maybe be Joe's or something, like showing the West history or something like that, or the West family history. So there's a photo album there, and she is having a conversation with Iris at this point as well. So I'm extremely curious to see what is happening during the scene. Like, is this photo album of reference, or was just, Iris gave her the photo album just to look through? Or maybe Joe gave it to her to look through when she was at his house. That'd actually make more sense when you think about it. But it is going to be interesting to see where all this goes. But the fact that she is writing in this notebook with those Speed Force symbols again at this particular point, and the promo images are focusing on this as well, does get your brain ticking and wondering what this could all mean. Like, is she writing just because of the photo album, or something between her and Iris, because we do see them having that conversation? Does something in that conversation trigger her to write something down? I have to wait and find out, obviously. But in regards to Nora and Iris, I think they are going to reconcile heavily in this episode. And the main reason for that is less drama. Like, they obviously had that big thing at the end of last episode, which was, I think we've all come to the conclusion that the scene sort of failed, because a scene like that should really hammer home one person's right and one person's wrong. And that scene just left a 50-50 split. Like, some people completely sided with Nora, some people completely sided with Iris. And for me, I was actually split down the middle because you couldn't side with Nora because we don't know what happens in the future. We don't know exactly what happens. We'd be assuming like Iris. And you couldn't side with Iris because she was a massive hypocrite because she's complained so much in the past about people preventing her from doing things and lying to her. So she was being a hypocrite because she was doing the exact same thing to Nora. So you couldn't really side with anyone, in my opinion, in that conversation, but other people are siding. So that scene was a big fail. But I'd rather them just move on from that drama. I think it does weigh down the show a bit. You know, it would be rushed, but I think it is time to move on. Like, they just have to move on, in my opinion. They need to have some fun on the show before Bebo knows what comes into the show, whether that's Reverse Flash or another bigger bad, and just causes trouble for the team. So have some family spirit, get on before, yeah, as I said, Bebo knows what comes through the timeline or through some portal or up from hell. Who knows where it's coming from. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on these promo images. What are your theories and stuff like that about the Speed Force symbols and the notebook and stuff like that? What do you think is going on there? And are you looking forward to Ragdoll? Let me know in the comment section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.